This episode of Hack 5 is brought to you by Domain.com.
All right, here we are in downtown San Francisco, having a little bit more fun with the Birdhouse project. And oh, hey, look, I found some friends. We're actually look out for just look out for Hack 5 on British TV soon. That should be fun. If I could ask you guys to maybe hold this while we get right into it. So last time when we were working on the Birdhouse project, basically we were talking about the concept of it, and I didn't really get too much into the software. So let me show you what's actually running on our Mark V here. Basically, this will become an infusion soon, but for right now, it's just a command line program that requires monitor mode. So airmon ng start wlan 1, and there we go. So we're going to just use the AirCrack suite to bring up a monitor mode interface, and what that means is that our Realtek radio in this Wi-Fi Pineapple is going to be basically listening to anything it's going to do channel hopping, but it's going to listen to anything around on Wi-Fi. And we're going to then only listen to certain frames of the Wi-Fi spectrum. We've talked about management frames before, and as we know, there are a bunch of really interesting ones, and one that only gets leaked out by devices that we're interested in are called probes, and probes can either be, probing for a specific network saying, hi, is Linksys around, or they can be probing to broadcast saying, hey, who's around? And those frames, they only come out of client devices like laptops and smartphones and tablets, whereas access points, or what's considered a base station, they don't send probes. So it's kind of the easiest, quick and dirty, hacky way to just see clients in the area as long as they are probing. Now, yes, we are going to miss a few clients in the area that aren't probing, and maybe later on in this project we'll actually seek those out as well. But the quickest and simplest way to actually do that is to just pull up a monitor mode interface and then listen to that traffic and then filter out for only management type 04, right? The hex is 04, and so that's why this program is actually called Experiment 802.11.04. And we just specify the interface, and in this case, Mon0. And immediately what we're going to see here is on the left our time code. Now this time code is in Unix epoch, which is in seconds elapsed since some arbitrary date in the 60s or 70s. I don't remember exactly, but it's the quickest way to keep track of time. And then in the right column, we actually have the BSS ID, or we colloquially know it as the MAC address, or the Media Access Control address, and that is specific to that device. And what's awesome about these is, with the caveat of them being self-administered, they're mostly unique. We're not going to see two devices with the same MAC address. And in fact, on most smart devices these days, like phones and tablets, there's no real convenient way to even change that. So for normies, this is going to pick up a ton of different devices, as we've seen already. So essentially what we're going to do for our first bit of capturing is, quite simply, since this is just a proof of concept thing, the quickest and easiest way to get that into a file is to do standard redirection into a file. I'm going to call this San Francisco 1.log, and then I'll do an ampersand to run it in the background. And now I'll tail TAC F to follow that log in /sd/San Francisco.log, and we can see now it's the same data, except this time it's actually going into a file that we can later process. And so what we'll be doing with this data to make it available for everyone to be able to play with at home is we're going to anonymize these MAC addresses, because while they don't really tell us who a person is, it is specific to their device. And so I really value everybody's privacy, and I want to make sure that we're being respectful. So what we'll do is, using some text processing, we're going to split that MAC address into the two parts. The first 3 octets of a MAC address are unique to the manufacturer. It's called the OUI, and that is, basically you can look up in a database and see these 3 octets of a MAC address are for Xerox Corporation, or for Lucky Gold Star, or for Motorola, or for Samsung, or Apple, or HP, or whoever. And these manufacturers, they register to get these OUIs, and now we can, based on this information, glean interesting statistics. For example, what the percentage of, I don't know, iPhone or Apple users there are on this street corner here in San Francisco. Now that second half of the MAC address, that's unique to that individual. And so what we're going to do to keep it unique is, rather than what we typically do shorthand style in the hacking world of just, replacing the MAC address with a bunch of X's, we're actually just going to MD5 sum that, because it's a hash, it's going to be unique, and it's going to be simple and quick to do. So what we'll end up with is time in Unix epoch, the OUI or the manufacturer, as well as a unique MD5 sum or a hash of that individual that won't be easy to reverse back to who that individual was. So we'll be maintaining privacy and also building a pretty good set of data. Now, of course, this is all into a flat file right now, which isn't going to be very easy to process. So down the line, we're actually going to talk about putting this into a database, which is going to be fun because we haven't dealt with Postgres or MySQL databases on Hak5 in a very long time. And then, of course, we will make that database available for everyone to have fun crunching the numbers and gleaning interesting information from. So I just thought I would give you a quick update on the project thus far and what we're doing on the software side. I will see you guys next week. You smell that? I need to make lemon-flavored mustaches. This is the case. This is totally fact. It's how it works. It is now available on the broadbands, for which you too can have a brilliant idea. Because when you get that idea, you have to search for it fast. And what's awesome is that Domain.com, they've got this quick domain discovery system, making their checkout process and everything super simple to get you set up in no time at all. Fire up that web server because we're about to get creative. That's a brilliant idea. I told you guys before, I love Domain.com because they're reliable, they're affordable, they're easy to use, but most of all, you'll realize that it is a super fun place to do business, as we have realized as we tweet them at Domain.com and realize, wow, these people are just crazy enough to do business with us. They like lemon-flavored mustaches, like brand new from the minds of the domain place where they dig up the domains. It's so great. But you know what else is crazy? The savings! If you use the coupon code HAK5 at checkout, you're gonna get an extra 15% off. From your mind, into the web, domain name, website, you're up and running. So when you think domain names, think Domain.com.
It is now time for the trivia question of the week. Last week's trivia question was, what was Apple's code name for the iPod? And the answer was Dulcimer. This week's trivia question is, what quick-spreading virus found to have begun around May of 2000 relied on recipients' curiosity to propagate? You can answer that at hak5.org/trivia for your chance to win some awesome Hak5 goodies. Hey everybody, I'm back this week and I found a cool little tip for you to check out, which may end up saving you a little bit of time. Hopefully it will. You've probably already got Netcat on your computer up and running if you've been watching my hack tips. So say you need to send a friend a really quick text file, or you want to create a quick command line version of Pastebin, for example. If you've used Pastebin a whole lot, you know what it is. It basically just sends people a whole bunch of text and a little link that people can share. So there is a tool available called TermBin, and you can find this over at termbin.com. It looks like Ermbin, but it really is termbin.com. This tool is basically used to turn your command line text into a shareable link. So here's how it works. All you need to have on your computer is Netcat. Yay! And everybody already knows how to install Netcat, so I'm going to skip that part. Once you have Netcat actually installed, you need to find some sort of text file or some kind of information that you want to send out in a link. I have created a little text file called kittens because why not? And it's available in my documents folder. So I want to send this over to, say, my friend Sarah. So if I just have cat kittens.txt, which I can actually use cat in my Windows machine, and I'll show you how to do that later, kittens.txt, you'll see this really nice long summary of kittens. Yay, because I love cats. So I just get the text in the terminal. Yay, big deal. I can't really share that with anybody, but you can add this extra little bit of command line text to the very end and you'll be able to send it out like a link. So to do that, I would type in cat kittens.txt, pipe, that up and down arrow, nc termbin.com 9999. Hit enter and it'll take just a little bit of time, a couple of seconds. And it gives you back a nice little link. So now if I take this link, so it's termbin.com at x3ps, so termbin.com/x3ps. PS. Should give me back, there it is. So I get all the text into a nice little document that I can then link out to my friends as just a regular HTML website. Very, very cool. So basically what this means is you are piping the catted text, that file, in the terminal over to termbin.com via Netcat, which is probably already installed on your computer, on port 9999. And the output is a basic link. In your browser, you'll see your text at the link. So very, very simple. Now you can try to do the same thing in the command with echo or ls. So if I wanted to type in something like echo, I love Hak5, pipe, and we're going to pipe this to nc termbin.com and same port 9999. Let's see if this works. Should work since it's just an echo of text in my command line. Okay, so this time it's 6SMP. So I'll try this one, 6SMP. I love Hak5, yay, it works! And I could also do the same thing with ls. So if I wanted to send over, I don't know, my whole terminal listing, I could do ls tac la pipe, same thing, nc termbin.com 9999. Let's see if this works. Okay, so this is VGP3. VGP3. Let's see if that worked. Hey, it worked! Oh my god, look! There's kittens.txt. Yay! I'm so excited! This is awesome! Okay, so all that just works just peachy keen. Now, if you're wondering how I use ls and cat in my Windows prompt, this is pretty cool too. You can actually change those. It's kind of like having aliases in terminal, I guess you could say. That's also a hack tip that I did over on hacktip, hak5.org. So I want to change my directory over to Windows, so I'm going to go over to C:\Windows. So I go over there. That's the first thing that I need to do. Now I can type in this thing called copycon. So to do this copycon, first thing I hit is CLS to clear my screen so it doesn't look all like garbage. Now I'm going to change my directory over to the Windows directory. So C:\Windows. Now in here, I'm going to type in copycon and then whatever I want the actual command to be, so cat, I want to be able to use cat.cmd. Hit enter and it'll let you type in a bunch of extra information down on the next line. Down here you're going to type in the Windows command. So the Windows command that kind of correlates with cat is type. And then I want to let it use several different variables after it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables. Hit enter and then hit Control-Z, enter. One file is copied. So now if I go back over to, I'm going to go over to my user /Shannon/documents. I think that's where the kittens file is. Yeah, kittens.txt. Okay, so I'm going to type in cat kittens.txt, hit enter, and there we go. So I can still do type kittens.txt and I get the exact same thing. So I'm able to use both of my different commands now in my Windows command prompt instead of having to memorize all those stupid Windows command prompts because those are really, really annoying. So that works. You can do the same thing with ls if you want to use ls instead of dir, for example. For that, you would just type in copycon ls.cmd, hit enter, and then type in dir, hit enter, Control-Z, enter, and then you'll see one copy filed. So now you can use both of those as if they are bash commands. So cool. So there's a couple of tips for you this week. That's all I got for you this week because we are crazy over here trying to move into our new place, maybe. We'll see. Watch last week's episode. Very, very important information. So let me know what you think. You can always send me an email over at feedback@hak5.org. Till next week, I'm Shannon. All right, everyone, that about wraps up this week's episode of Hak5. Our place is a mess. Hopefully it won't be so messy soon. But first, before we head out, I wanted to share a Technolist photo of the week. It's been a little while, but we got a really cool one from Marty. He said, so here's a photo of my lab/internet connection. Everyone needs to run their home internet with a Juniper SRX 100H firewall, a Cisco 3750 GPOE switch, and a Cisco Air AP 1141N, right? Yes, because that's how I spell overkill. That's awesome, Marty. Thank you so much for sending in your photo. And of course, you guys can send your pictures to feedback@hack5.org with the subject line Technolust. That was feedback@hack5.org. And that's also where you can send us any kind of emails, whether you like it, whether you totally hate our show, we don't care. Send us some info. Let us know what you want to see on the show. And lastly, thank you. You guys out there, thank you, Paul, Darren, and Sarah. Thank you guys for supporting the show so much, and thank you for supporting us. We couldn't do this show without you. Go to hackshop.com to definitely get your Technolust on. We got all sorts of really cool goodies over there, including USB rubber duckies and Wi-Fi pineapples and hacker refs and antennas. And a lot of this stuff we do segments on, so you can figure out how to use them. So on behalf of Darren and myself, I'm Shannon Morse. That guy who's usually standing right there is Darren Kitchen, and of course, we're reminding you to trust your Technolust. Nope. I've never done that before.